Hi, in this video we're going to look at two functions that compute the number of days that lies between two dates. We'll be looking at the days function and the days 360 function. The days function and the days 360 functions are two functions that are used to calculate the number of days that lies between two dates. Now, the days function assumes a 365 days in a year, while the days 360, like the name suggests, assumes a 360 day in a year, which means an average every month is 30 days. 30 times 12, you get 360. Now, we're going to look at our data to see how these functions are used to compute the dates that lies between two dates. Now, let's look at our information here. We have here serial number, name of employee, the gender, the employee number, and the date the staff got employed, as well as the date of confirmation. Now, usually when you get a new job, you placed under probation for a period of time before your offer is confirmed. Now, what we're going to do here is to look at how long these guys stayed before they were confirmed. We're going to be using the days function and the days 360 function. Now, before that, let us look at the syntax like we've always done. Now, the syntax for the days function is simply equal to days. You open a bracket, you select the end date, take a comma, and then you take the start date. Now, this is a two-argument function, and both arguments are mandatory. So I'm going to just use that function, that syntax rather, and come here. Let's look at the number of days that we have here. I'm going to say equal to days, and I open my bracket. The first is asking me is the end date. So I take this is the end date, and I take my comma, and the next thing is start date. I put my start date and I hit my enter key. Now I have 31 days between those two dates. Now, what if you want to compute that same number of days using the days 360? The days 360 is a three-argument function. Two of those arguments are mandatory, while one is optional. We have equal to days 360, open a bracket, start date, comma, end date. Remember, when we use the days function, we started with end date. Now we started with start date here, take a comma, end date, and take a comma. Now you have method being the optional argument. Now, what does method mean? Method simply means whether you are using the American days or the European days. Now, by default, it will take you false. If you want to select true, you select true. True simply means you are using the European approach, while false, which is the default line for most of the functions here, is the American days, which is false. Now, if you don't select anyone, the system takes it to be the default one. So usually I tell my participants anyway that for this, you don't bother selecting anyone, because they are basically going to give you the same answer, maybe with very slight differences in various occasions. So I come here and I say equal to days 360, and I take my bracket open, a start date, so I'm going to click on days and I take a comma. Then the next one is the end date. I click here. Now I can stop here, but if I take this, it's going to ask me for false or true. Now, like I said earlier, if you don't select anyone, it assumes false. So let's just take this and I hit my enter key. So it's giving me 30 days. Remember, we said the days 360 assumes a 30-day month. So that's how you use those days to get the differences between two dates. Now we have an illustration here that will make us do some much more interesting jobs. So let's look at this. I can just take off this one now, because I don't think I need it now. Okay, or let me push this one back so that I can move. All right, cool here. So we have this, the illustration, that the table shows the details of employees hired in 2019 in a company with the date of engagement and the date of confirmation of offer. You are required to, one, calculate the number, I guess this is number, this spelling is wrong. Calculate the number of days between employment date and job confirmation. Now we already did that, so we're going to just run down that formula. The second one says all those confirmed under 90 days are to be promoted. That's a reward. Confirmed under 3 months to be promoted, while those not confirmed within the first 1 year, which is 360 days, will be placed on watch list. You have to produce the above two lists. So we're going to produce two lists. First, those who are going to be promoted, with those confirmed under 90 days, while those who will be placed on watch list, those who were not confirmed within the first 1 year. So let's come here and we're going to use a bit of if statement to join that. So I'm just going to move this one a little bit out here to give us some space. Okay, should I just take it off? Yeah, doesn't matter. Let me take off this. So we're going to come here and say if the differences between these two dates is less or equal to 90, that is the guys on the fast line, so it should be promoted. But if the differences is greater than 360, we mean that guy is on the slow line. So first, let's compute the days here. I'm just going to drag this one down, and I come here and I'm going to drag this one down. So these are the various days they stayed. Now you could see differences between the days and the days 360 because of the assumption they make. Now let's come here and address next question, which is those going to be promoted and those going to be placed on watch list. So I'm going to say equal to if, because we know that, I open a bracket, it's going to ask me for logic test. So I'm going to say if days 360, let's use that one, days 360. So let's use this. So we're saying if days 360 is asking for the start date, so I'm going to take this and I take a comma and I take this. Now if days 360, within that, saying assuming this evaluates to less than or equal to 60, so less than or equal to 90. If this evaluates to this, then this person is going to be promoted. So we say promoted. We know how we do this. We've done if statement a lot. This person is going to be promoted. Now we take another if statement and say that if the days 360, take the start date again, and I take my comma, and I'm going to take the end date. So if this evaluates to be greater than 360, that means this guy had a very slow time before he won, lengthy time before it was confirmed. We're saying that the value, if true, is that this person should be on watch list. Should be on watch list. Otherwise, we should just create a space there. We don't need any other information. And I just hit the enter key. Now this person is promoted, and if you check, he got confirmed under 90 days. So I'm just going to drag this down. Now if you check, you will see some are on watch list. Anybody on watch list will certainly be more than 360 days. So you see all these are on watch list. Those promoted are all those that had their confirmation below 90 days. So if you want to get this in together, is to just to sort this, and you put the promoted together, you put the watch list together, you just get off your report, and that's all about it. So that's how to use the days function. We've mixed a little bit with if statement. There might be situation where you will need to mix it with other functions as you work along. Thank you very much for listening. In other videos, we'll see much more of what Excel can do. Bye bye.